Hello, my name is Brandon Lane. My group members are Tin and Thomas, and today we are going over the Chapter 3 assignment. For the Chapter 3 assignment, we were told to describe the crime rates in Missouri and compare that with any of the other 49 states. The state that we chose to compare that with was Kansas. So as you can see here, we have the raw data from 1960 to 2014 for Kansas and Missouri, and we pluck that out and put it into a new sheet just so it's nicer to look at and so we can make our graphs easier. But we don't need to look at that, so we're going to hide that. And now we have two bar graphs, one in Kansas, one in Missouri, both for the same time, 1991, and for the same weight, right? So per 100,000 people in Kansas, per 100,000 people in Missouri. And you can see here there are some key differences. Some of the key differences would be the violent crime rates. The violent crime rates in Missouri are dramatically higher than they are in Kansas. In Missouri, you have 763 out of 100,000 people that would commit a violent crime rate in comparison to only 500 out of 100,000 people in Kansas. So that is dramatically lower. But then, when you can see like where does it get worse in Kansas? Well, it gets worse in the property crime rate. So Kansas actually has, per 100,000 people, they have 5,034 individuals that commit a property crime rate in comparison to the 4,652 individuals out of 100,000 people in Missouri. And that's a big difference. When you look in here, I was surprised to see that the murder and manslaughter were so low. Um, I mean, the lowest ideal point would be zero, right? Like you don't want any, but we do, um, unfortunately. And but yeah, they're quite low in comparison to the 5,000 property crime rates per 100,000 people, right? Like that's a drastic difference for the difference of crime. Here we have the Kansas property crimes and the Missouri property crimes in a line graph. Um, so you can see here, you're probably wondering why does it look, why don't they look the same? We actually made a mistake, and unfortunately the legends aren't the same and the colors aren't the same. So stick with me here. So for the Missouri property crimes, you can see that for larceny it has been on a steady decrease since about the time of the recession, right? In 2001, it started dropping pretty pretty drastically, I'd say. For the rate that we're given for the amount of crimes, and burglary uh, has been on a steady decrease since 1980, which is pretty weird. It was really shocking when I saw that after the recession, you would see that the crime rates are dropping because usually you think a recession would only make things worse, but it's not. Things are actually getting better, which is nice. And same for Kansas. As I said for Missouri, you can see the crime rates drop. Well, actually, for 1997, you can see the crime rates drop even before the recession for larceny, but the same goes for burglary, as it's been on a steady decrease since 1980, and the only difference is that the motor vehicle theft has stayed about the same, regardless of recession. And moving on. Here we have two line graphs for the violent crimes of Kansas and Missouri. And I really like these two graphs as they show a much more higher increase in crime than these two graphs did. You can see here that in Missouri, the highest increase has been from 1988 to 1990. That is a difference of about 6,000 in comparison to, you you can see here how it's just like kind of went up drastically, but then here's the sharpest influx of crime rates. And you can say the same for over here at about the same time, 1986 to about 1990, they had their highest surge of crime, um, which I don't know why. I don't know what happened in 1986, unfortunately. However, in these line graphs, the legends and the colors are the same, which is a huge bonus. I'm sure it's easier for you guys to see. The only different thing I would have done for these line graphs is I would have removed the murder and the legacy rape crime rates, because I think the numbers are just too small to where a line graph doesn't do the numbers justice. Because there's not enough variation in the number changes or in the numbers. And yeah, I think that's about it. Um, any questions?